Hey guys, welcome back to the Love2D for Beginners series, and today we're doing something exciting. We're recreating the classic arcade game Pong, and this is what our game will look like after we are done with it. So it'll be this with sound effects as well, and with a score system as well, and after, you know, it'll be this. So both of these paddles will be controlled by the player, and we have sound effects as well, and responsive movement and score tracking as well, so it'll be really fun. So what are we going to do in this episode? In this episode we're going to set up our game window. This will actually be a three-part series in which in this episode we'll just set up our game window, we'll create the paddles and the ball, and we'll draw them on the screen. So by the end of this video you'll already see the foundation of the real game, and with that being said, let's dive right in. And just a quick shout out, if you are learning Lua, you can check out our app on the Play Store. Lua for games to learn and code. It is packed with interactive courses, fun coding challenges, and a built-in Lua compiler and step-by-step guides to build games like Brick Breaker. It is perfect for beginners who want to learn and practice Lua all in one place. So you can go check it out on the Play Store from Codin, Lua for games, learn and code. Now let's get on with the video. Now first what I'll do is I'll create a new game folder called Pong. I'll open it in command prompt so that I can open it in VS Code by typing CODE space dot. Now this will open the folder in VS Code. Let me maximize this and increase the size so that you guys can see clearly. And I'll create a new main.lua file, and inside this I'll start with our code. So first of all we will use love.load, and inside love.load we will set the window title. So window.set title, we'll set the title to Pong game, and after that we'll set the width and height of our window. So love.window dot set mode, and inside set mode we'll use 800 and 600 values. Now this is our width times our height. Now we'll end the load function for now, and inside our load function, after we define our window size, we will define our our variables. So we will first define the constants related to our paddle and ball. So paddle and ball constants, and for that we will define our paddle width. So let me type this in all caps, paddle underscore width. So this will be 20, and then our paddle height. So paddle height, HIEGST. I forgot a second for the spelling of white. So 100. After that we can type out the ball size. So ball size, let's say it's 20 as well. After that we will first define the left paddle. So this will be our left side's paddle will be player 1. So player 1, and we'll create a table for player 1, and inside the table we'll define the x and y values. The x value will be 50 and the y value will be 250. Let me enter a comma here and a comma here. After that we'll define the width, and the width will be equal to our paddle width. So paddle width, and our height will equal to paddle height. And after that we are done with our player 1 table. Then we'll create a table for, okay, didn't mean to do that. Then we'll create a table for our right paddle, and that will be for our player 2. So player 2 will equal to X position being 800. So this is our full screen width, minus 50 minus our paddle width. So it should start from there. So I'll be using our paddle width over here, paddle width. And as for our Y position, it will initially equal to 250 as well. So Y should be small, equals to 250. Okay, for some reason I always forget the commas, and after that we'll be defining its height and width, and for that I'll just copy this and paste this. So height and width will be the same for player 2 as well. Now we're done with our paddles. Let's define a table for our ball. So ball. Now for ball equals, for its X position we'll be placing this at the middle, so 400 minus our ball size by 2. And then as for our Y position, it will be, let's see, 600, so it will be half of that, 300 minus our, this is the center of the ball, so this position is for the center of the ball, so ball size by 2. Now we want the ball to be at the center, dead center of the screen at the initial position, so that's why I'm defining the half height and half width and half height of our screen over here, and this is to center the ball. Now after that, now I'm pretty sure that you know that Love2D's coordinate system starts at 0 0 at the top left corner, and if we increase the X value it will go right, if we increase the Y value it will go down. So I hope you know that already, you have been following this along. And now let's make our paddles and ball visible by using the love.draw function. So okay, my caps lock is on, function love.draw, and inside this we will not have to set our background color that much, but let's use the set background color. So we'll set our background color to a bit more than, I guess, less black. So love.graphics.set background color will do 0.1, 0.1 and 0.1. This won't make a lot of difference, but let's just leave it out here. After that, we should draw the dashed line at center. So for that we'll use love.graphics, we'll use our white color, so love.graphics.set color, we'll use 111, this is for our white color. And to draw a bunch of rectangles as our dashed line, we'll use a for loop. So for I equals 0 to 600 with a difference of 30, do love.graphics.rectangle, as I said, we'll be drawing rectangles for our dashed line. Those rectangles will be filled, so fill. And then our width, so it will be 395, and no, not our width, our position, our X position will be 395. For our Y position it will be the value of I, and for our height and width, width and height, then it will be 10 and 10. Now let's do 15, otherwise it will not be actually a rectangle, it will be a square. And as for drawing our paddles, so draw paddles, we'll do love.graphics.rectangle, fill. Now because the first paddle should be for player 1, we'll be using player 1's table. So player 1 dot X will be the X position, player 1 dot Y will be the Y position, player 1 dot width will be the width, and player 1 dot height will be the height. And that is it for our player 1. As for our player 2, we'll use the same line. Let me just copy this, and 2, player 2 player 2, and one last time player 2. After that, we are done with drawing our paddles. Let's draw the ball. So draw ball. Love.graphics dot rectangle. Our ball will be a rectangle as well. It will have the fill method. Okay, before drawing the ball, let's see if our our paddles have been drawn or not. So for executing this, we will create a batch file. So let me just copy this batch file from our previous episodes onto our new folder. So it was Pong, right? So yeah, this is essentially a batch file which, okay, we have drawn our paddles, we have not moved them yet, and as you can see we have drawn our dashed line as well. So as I was saying, the batch file is essentially just it just contains the location of our love.exe and then a pause to pause. So we have drawn our rectangles. Let's not include our end statement since we have left to draw the ball as well. We'll be drawing our balls after the we'll be drawing after our ball after we drew the paddles. So ball.x, ball.y, and the ball width. So we'll not use width, since we have defined a size for our ball. Oh, we haven't defined a size for our ball, my bad. So as for our size, it will equal to ball size, which we have defined up here. So we'll use ball.size and ball.size once again. Since we want it to be kind of a square, it would look like a rectangle. So that was it, and after that we'll write end, and we'll end our draw function. So here's what's happening. We have set our color to dark, our background, but even if we did not do this, it would default to a dark background, so you don't really need to do this. And after that, to draw the dashed line, we used a for loop which drew the dashed lines at the position. Now we are altering between 0 to 600, which is the total height of our screen. As you can see, 600 will be our height of our window. So from 0 to 600, we have drawn many rectangles at a difference of 30. So 0 is here. Okay, let me just execute the code and show you. So where was it? It was in Pong. So 0 is right here, and after a difference of 30 up and all the way until 600, we have drew these dashed lines, which are essentially rectangles, to create a dashed line. And this rectangle, or let's say a square right here, is our ball. Even with simple shapes, it already feels like a game. Now, since this is really less for our episode, I'll throw in an extra bit where we can move our players, player 1 and player 2. So for doing that, we'll have to use the love.update function. So we'll write function love.update. Inside this, we'll use dt. And after that, we'll define a speed value since we want to move them by a certain speed. So this you can consider pixels per second. So it's 300 pixels per second. And in that, we'll use love.keyboard.isDown to detect player input. And let's say for player 1, we control it using W and S. So if the player presses the W, then the position, especially since W is a point, in typical games, W corresponds to up, the player position, specifically our Y position, should update. So since it should move up, the player's Y position value should decrease. So player 1.y value should decrease, and by how much should it decrease? It should decrease by a fold of our speed times dt. And after that, use else if our love.keyboard.isDown is equal to S, that is for down, then we have to increase the player Y position value. So player dot Y, a player, not just player, actually it should be player 1 here. So player 1 dot Y we should increase. So player, what is with my fingers today? Okay, player 1 dot Y will increase speed times dt. So this is updating the player paddles, this paddles position. So when I press S, it should go down, that is its Y position value should increase. So that is why we are increasing the Y positions value right here. Now after that, it is the end for this if condition. Let's end our function as well, and I'll close this for now. Let's see if our paddles are moving, specifically this paddle. So you can see that this paddle is moving as well. Now in order to move this paddle, we can use the same logic, but instead of W and S, we can use our up and down arrow. So up and down. So let's close this and execute our code once again. Oh, I meant to type out player 2. So if I press up and down, the player 2, that is our second right paddle, should update. Okay, this should be player 2 as well. My bad. Okay, our player 1 and 2 are moving nicely. Now that is it for our episode. We are multiplying our player 1 and player 2 values by speed and dt. We are subtracting and adding speed times dt onto our player values, and that is how they are moving. Now in the next episode, we'll cover our ball physics and collisions, and even set up a small point system. So I hope you stay tuned for that, and I hope this episode was helpful. If you liked the episode, drop a like and subscribe to the channel for more such videos. And until then, bye bye and happy coding.